Hello everybody, welcome to Friday's video. Shouldn't have mentioned the Friday because it's probably going to be on a Saturday now.
Oh well.
But what I'm doing here, mate, is I'm having a look on the old auto data, see if we can find some head nut torque settings for a BDA. Probably not.
Yeah, I've got a feeling you might struggle, but
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
I've finished the cylinder head. We've all had a go at that cylinder head, haven't we, mate, on the BDA?
Yeah, they're a bit
It's
of a
been hanging
nightmare.
about for quite some time. We've all had a little go, got dragged into something else, and it's just been sitting there in that room there, covered in crap. So I've set about it a couple of days ago and cleaned it right up, give it a lick of the old silver because it's been blasted, and done my clearances. But it's a bit weird, this one, isn't it?
It is.
Because you've got, if you see the head sitting on the block here, it's not torqued up yet, but it looks fairly thin.
Yeah, you think, oh, it's a little head.
It's a little
And
head.
then you think, where are the cams?
But then the cam carrier there is sort of more than, well, it's bigger than the head.
It is, probably. Well,
Bit of an
about
odd
the same.
setup though. These buckets sort of sit in the back, the cams sit inside the carrier. That's a little bit like the 2 litre wet belt Transit design, that.
Kind of, except
Isn't it?
you can actually take that apart.
Yeah, well you can't
You
with
can't
them.
on the wet belts.
You just got to buy a whole new thing for about 600 quid.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's very similar and sort of not, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So I got informed by a gentleman who emailed me saying that he does a lot of these, or has done a lot of these in his life, specialises on them, and there is a tool that you sort of go in there, a bit like a spring setup, that sits in between these buckets and stops them all falling out when you turn it upside down. We haven't got that tool, so what we've done is use a little bit of grease on the outside of the bucket, and it seems to hold them in there.
Opted for some grease, seems
Opted
to
for
work.
some grease, yes.
You have to keep an eye on them though, don't you? But
You do, mate.
But they stay in there.
Obviously the shim on the valve, and then the bucket goes on top of the shim. So really, if you were going to set these clearances up with the head still on the vehicle, you would have to check your clearances, write them all down, and then either get new shims to make them bigger to close the clearance gap up, or smaller to open the gap up.
Yeah.
10th hour across the board, isn't they, inlet and exhaust, which
Yeah.
makes it nice and easy. But what we do, when it's on the bench, we write down all the clearances, what you've got at the moment. Fortunately, they're not too far out.
No.
And then what we can do, with the springs off, is take the carrier off once it's all written down, and then I measure the valve from the back, off the back of the guide.
Yeah.
And then take it either off the stem if we want to open the valve up, so we take the shim away.
Take it off the top
If we
of
wanted
there.
to have a bigger clearance, we take material off there,
Yeah.
measuring it accurately, or off the face of the valve, so that'll be the 45-degree seat that sits onto
Yeah.
the actual seat, and that brings the valve forward and closes up the gap. So that is what I did, mate. It's a little bit of a rigmarole.
Yeah, you've got to be, and with the, taking it off the stem, on a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
you've got to be a bit careful of how close you get to the collets.
Yes.
But obviously, on
You've got
this,
about an inch.
Yeah, you've got like an inch or whatever.
Yeah.
And you've even got a fair amount on them exhausts, so you haven't really
Exactly.
got to worry about that. But
No.
yeah,
So the only thing is with this sort of setup where you've got a carrier that sits on top of the head, we have got a few modern motors that do that, and you just have to make sure that the torque setting is correct.
yeah,
If it's got a gasket, use the gasket, but use the correct torque setting each time. Otherwise, it can close the gap up, or if you loosen the torque off, it can bring it up and open the gaps up.
yeah.
So, yeah, really. I mean, this is like a typical old engine where you get little issues, don't you? You've got
do,
like
yeah.
a few threads pulled out. One here, I've had to put an insert in.
That was courtesy of me. Butchered the thread whilst I tried to sort it out, but
Nice of you to own up on that, mate. Well,
Well,
done. But all
it
I do
happens,
is I
doesn't
just drilled and tapped on the mill, M10, steel insert in there, and then just quarter UNC with the
So that's
carrier
like-
on. So we've sort of done the measurements and got that
Yeah.
exactly where
so you
it
sort
used
of
to be.
Loctite that in and everything. or-
Loctite that in,
Yeah.
come back the next day, hack it off, machine it so it's dead flush,
Yeah.
and then drill and tap your
does
Ford
happen.
UNC.
But
Not
it's
too
good,
bad, mate. Little
good we
half-hour
can,
job.
Good we can sort them out. So
Yeah,
that's the
but there's
main
loads of
thing.
little things like that on these old motors, really. So yeah, that's it. Heads on now, mate. We've got a funny dowel set up on the cylinder head there. So you've got stud and nuts, as standard. And here, actually, if I show you on Burton, this is what instead of individual dowels, they've got a stud here, look, that comes with a dowel sort of built in. So that coarse thread is there. That goes into the block.
Right.
I think that's like 7/16 UNC.
Probably.
Goes into the block, and then the gasket and the head sits over them dowels, 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then you've got a fine thread up the top. Yeah, I'm going to get this torque down today, because it is now Friday, getting towards the end of the day. So this one then is your baby after that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure this was on so we don't get any of these shims mixed up, mate.
Yeah, it's only put the oil pump back together, which is because it's a dry sump setup. It's a bit of a weird one. Quite a complex pump, so we've got to do that. Get that on.
Yeah.
Get the little intake runners back on and all that, and then ain't
This
too
is
much to do. Get it timed up.
Not really, mate. Quite nice.
Yeah.
We was just saying a minute ago, though, everything in here at the minute, every engine is a nice engine. It's not like an engine that you dread doing. They're all nice, aren't they, at the minute? So you've been cracking on with the V6 2.8 Ford.
Yeah.
Cologne?
It is a Cologne.
So this one you finished honing last week. I bought it.
Yeah.
Face the blocks.
Might be able to see from underneath.
Give it a good old clean up, mate.
Yeah.
Looks like it's etch primed.
It is. It's
masked
primed.
up professionally.
Masked up, yeah. Proper masking.
Yeah.
I do quite like doing all that.
I
know.
know.
It looks really good.
And it's worth doing, and it's worth spending the extra time and making sure it's nice.
But I think he wants us in like the original sort of grey.
Yeah.
But I've asked him if he knows what the colour code is or anything, or what it's called. So hopefully we can get that in the next week, and then
lovely job, Lee.
get it all painted.
And we've got everything pretty much ready to go. So it's been balanced, new
all
pistons
been balanced.
and all that jazz, mate. All ready to rip, innit?
Yep.
So there's that one, and there's the BDA. BMW here. This one's all ready to go, mate. This has been bored, check the clearance, face the block, give it a good clean up, painted it black. This is similar to the similar setup really to the BDA, except these are individual. So everything ready to go on this. The head's been done actually, but we're going to strip it out, check it, blast it, and give it a lick of paint. Just move that, and then in this cupboard there is a lot of new bits and second-hand bits that have all been reconned, ready to rip.
Lovely.
And this is going to look lovely, mate. So this engine is being built as a sort of copy replacement of the M3 motor, really, but in...
So the E30 M3
E30
engine.
M3, 4-pot, but this will be a 1800.
Yeah, what were they? Were they a 2.3 or something, the E30s? Or?
Yeah, and I think they did a 2.5 as well.
Yeah.
In the Evo spec.
We've had one of them blocks in here before.
Yeah, we've done one of them
big
before.
old bore, isn't it, on them?
Massive bloody bore, yeah. So, yeah, it'd be a nice motor when it's done, this one, mate. That's going to be going in about 2 weeks. The gent's over in the UK at the moment, but he's going to be having it back as soon as he's back in Spain. But that's a lovely looking motor, and we've had some really positive comments on that.
Yeah.
But so we should, mate. You can't fault it, can you?
Well, it does look good.
And we have got another Cosworth turned up here today.
Nice, already in bits.
Already in bits.
Or mostly.
This is a 2-wheel drive Sierra Sapphire Cosworth that's been off the road for about 25 years, apparently.
Yeah.
And has only done 50-odd thousand miles. So it's a gentleman from Wales. He's brought this over kindly. He only rang up yesterday, but he's brought it over today. He already had the head off. The head has been gone through fairly recently, but I think it went in because it was a bit smoky.
Yeah.
But it's still a little bit smoky. And I said...
and the bores look a bit glazed up, don't they?
Bit glazed, bit of wear. I said to him, really, once these engines, especially the old 2-wheel drives, once they get to the point where they're a bit smoky or a little bit tappy, they're pretty knackered, aren't they? Because these things tend to run when they're worn right out.
Yeah,
and when they get to that point...
You always say they seem like, until they're properly knackered, they seem absolutely fine.
They do, yeah. You might get a little puff of smoke, but not the end of the world. But obviously now, with the cranks and everything, the price of it all, it's worth getting on top while it's still all salvageable and serviceable. So what we normally do, even though this is partly stripped, we don't care about that. First thing we'll do is send the turbo off to Turbo Performance. We'll obviously strip the bottom end, measure everything, see if he's not convinced they've done the guides in the head, so we'll probably do them. Just strip it all, measure everything, see what's all serviceable, make sure there's no disasters, and then get onto him and get the go-ahead with the parts list. And
ideal.
He wants a little bit more poke out of it, so this has been standard. He probably wants to run about 300 horsepower-ish.
It's a 205 block, isn't it? So
205 block, it's an original engine.
No possibility of long studding or anything, but
no,
can still have. They do like ARP studs for these, or people?
Yeah,
don't
they
bother?
do, but it's to be honest, the standard head bolts are fine.
Yeah,
I don't bother with that really. So yeah, you can run a what I say stock engine, so stock cams, stock ports, but built like we build them, and you can run a reliable 400 horsepower on that with the with a T34. That's a T3, so we'll probably hybrid that slightly, but they're a nice responsive turbo, and it'll be a lovely car on the road in two-wheel drive form. Yeah. So yeah, another Cosy, mate. And talking of Cosworths, we've obviously got to get on with that V6. That'll be next. But over on the pallet there, we do have another BOC Cosworth.
Is it BOC?
Is it BOC?
BOA, is it?
BOA.
I didn't know if it was different to what I thought.
It's a BOA, you're right. Which is the 2.9 out of the Granada Cosworth.
24 valve.
24 valve with the two Cosworth cylinder heads.
Yep.
As we've got here. Same as this one, really. So that is a go through.
We've got 3 of them now. Well, I mean, we've got one's an actual Cologne 2.8, but it's the same, based on the same block.
It's crazy, really, because
BOAs.
10 years ago, you'd never get involved with that.
No.
It just wouldn't be worth it. But it's all sort of going round in a circle, isn't it? And
yeah.
this stuff's becoming more sought after and more.
Well, it's like you always said with the Cossies, like you used to get them for. Well, they weren't cheap, but it was, compared to what it is now.
That's it, yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? So after the last video, mate, because you're one for reading comments, I don't read the comments too much unless I've got time. What was the verdict on putting a Cosy in the Mark 1? The only one comment I did read was, probably not a great idea. That car probably handles nicely because of the weight of the crossflow. And you're going to ruin it by sticking the extra weight of the Cosy. But
I'm thinking, honest, mate, I didn't really read the comments. I read a few, but I can't really remember what they were.
Oh, really?
I seem to remember one about maybe it will try and push the front end out. I think it's more likely to kick the back end out, but I don't know.
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think what I'm going to do, mate, because as I say, I'm going to be building that engine anyway. That's going to be our Cosworth engine.
Build up a Cosworth.
Yeah.
If you fancy it, you can put it in there. You can put it in the van. You could put it wherever you want.
You could keep it. You could sell it. You could do what you want with it. But it's.
But at the end of the day, you're going to build one up.
Going to build one for ourselves.
There is a chance it could end up in that car.
Yeah. I think I will probably put it in that car anyway, because the van's not going to be done yet. No. So I'm going to big tunnel that, 5-link the back, put the Cosy in it. If it's dreadful and I regret it, I can take it out, put the crossflow back in, stick the crossflow to one side for a minute. If we love it, then it's the crossflow in the van, isn't it?
The thing is,
simple as that, really.
I think you're changing the sort of car it is when you put a Cosy in, because it becomes a stupid car rather than like a nicely balanced sort of track car. Because at the minute it is quite nicely balanced.
We'll
goes
see.
Well
I mean, I've got a friend, Joe, with a Mark II with a Cosy in, about 350 horsepower, and he loves the thing. Yeah. Although he uses it for drifting mainly, but he loves it. You know, so it can't be too terrible.
Well, it's just going to be lively.
We'll see, won't we? We'll see.
It'll be lively.
It'll be lively. We'll see. Well, mate, before we go today, 5:10 on a Friday, we have decided that we are very soon going to be finishing this area, aren't we?
Yeah.
So the office is still a go-ahead. Not going to be for a couple of months or so, though.
Yeah.
Because my mate is busy.
Office upstairs.
Office upstairs. But what we're going to be doing is just clearing out this area, fitting a nice little sort of kitchen area.
Yeah, nothing too fancy. Just
to tidy it up.
Marketplace job. Get some kitchen units.
That's
or
it.
Something.
Just to tidy it up. Probably have some sort of curtain sort of things here. You know, like the industrial sort of.
Yeah, the little flappy things.
And we're just going to be panelling this area with a whiteboard, bit like in there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get some lovely pictures that you have took of some wonderful engines that we built.
Yeah, I think so.
Get them framed like in the office and put them around here. Maybe
Just tidy this bit up.
Just tidy it up. Maybe like a little chair there, plant there.
Yeah.
Just make it look smart.
Just finish it all
Black
off.
Amorite the stairs. So yeah, you'll be seeing in the next few weeks, this will all be done in here and it's going to look nice. And whoever that is ringing me is keen as mustard. But that's it, mate.
Yeah.
Till Monday or Tuesday.
Or
Have a
Wednesday.
great weekend. I'm going to Torquay tomorrow night.
Nice.
For a quiet one. Where are you going?
I'm going to Exeter to a bottomless brunch. So
That's going to be
I'm
messy.
going to be out the game by about 2:30.
Oh, still not recovered on the Monday.
No.
We shall see.
Well, might be all right. Day drinking in it, be all right.
Oh, I could think of nothing worse.
Oh,
Well, have a nice weekend, mate.
cheers, mate, and you.
And we'll see you all next week. Cheers, guys.